Welcome to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. Beautiful day after Pete Rose Day, yesterday's sellout. All right, so a couple of announcements. Do not show up here next Thursday. If you are, you're going to be lonely, because we're going to be at the Rotary Reds game honoring Owen Raspin next Friday at 6:40 is the game time. And the Rotary Chorus, you may not know this, is going to be singing the national anthem on that evening. Make sure you get there a few minutes early to celebrate the Rotary Chorus. You're going to hear from them a little bit after a few of my opening remarks. You can have a sneak preview of the beautiful voices of the Rotary Chorus. One other thing is that I want to give you an update on Dr. Pierce. Steve and I, as well as Ed Mathis, visited him in person on Saturday. He's doing well. He sends his love. He wants to come back to Rotary as soon as he can, and just wants to everyone to think about him. So when you're going through the invitation, please think about Dr. Pierce and your thoughts and prayers. And hopefully we'll be back with it soon. And it's also important to think about all the Rotarians in our community that are unable to make it through because of health issues. They're our family, and we need to honor them and think about them. And more to come on that. I have some ideas around that. But again, let's celebrate Owen Raspin next Friday, and let's celebrate the Rotary Chorus today with our national anthem. Rickell Howard Smith, and the transformative work she leads. May her mission continue to bring hope and equity to those in need. Bless our Rotary Club and its members. Guide us to live out our motto of service above self with humility and compassion. May this time together strengthen our purpose, and this meal nourish both our body and spirit. Amen. Please join me in reciting the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. To announce our guest and visiting Rotarians, we have Callie Paulson.
have Dr. Anis Malik, who is a we have Ed Harris from Weatherpod, and he is a guest of Mike Manchara. We have Fred Desai, who is a guest of Ariel Miller. And we have Melissa Saka, who is a guest of Manny Otto. Philip Wilkins, who's a guest of Pat Emil Miller. We have Jen Malani and Tracy Talbot, they are guests of mine. And we have 4 guests from the YWCA with us today: Pat Steiner, Jamila Watson, Yvette Johnson-Peggy, and Dave Palm. Thank you and enjoy your lunch.
So all of you are invited to become Rotarians, learn about us, and become part of the Rotary family. I want to bring up Aaron Miller, we want to thank you for being the lead sponsor. Here you go, Ariel.
When I found out that you were going to be coming from the YWCA, I was so excited and proud because of your mission and your work in promoting justice and equity and preventing violence. And I come from an organization that represents the major faith communities of Cincinnati who are working on environmental problems as a form of slow violence that we want to correct. It's called Faith Communities Go Green, and I'm very proud that we've got 2 steering committee members here. We've got Dr. Anis Malik, who's Muslim, and we have Becca Desai, who's Zoroastrian, and I'm a Christian steering committee member. Our founder and co-chair is Joanne Gerson, who's Jewish, and she's winning the major sustainability award at the Midwest Sustainability Summit this coming June. So I just want to talk about the values that we bring to bear to this, which map very well on the 4-way test about fairness, truth, and beneficial to all. These map on the major religious values of concern for everybody and not just for my tribe. And so in the United States, living as we do, we have a disproportionate impact in causing climate change. And we have disproportionate and wonderful power to improve the situation by the ways that we live. So Becca, for example, is leading our education and lifestyles group, which tells people how they can reduce their emissions and pollution by simple changes in their lifestyle. The facilities working group is helping congregations to reduce their energy use and save money by becoming more efficient through high-level energy audits and advising people on changes that they can make so they can liberate their money up for other things and make their facilities better to be cooling centers in the heat and keep people warm in the winter. And I'm the co-chair of the advocacy group, and I wanted to invite you to our forum. It's Tuesday night, which reflects the new energy bill that was passed in Ohio and some opportunities that opens up for green energy. This is a club that has raised over $50,000 2 years ago to promote solar panels in Uganda so that children there can have energy justice and be able to learn and not have to breathe in dirty particulates. And we can promote the same kind of stewardship here, so I invite you to come to the forum. There's a flyer on your table. And thank you for letting me sponsor this meeting.
Thanks, Ariel. Thanks for being a sponsor. And for anyone who wants to learn more about the sponsorship program, please reach out to the office. As you know, we've been growing as a club, and growth is important to learn about new members. Today we have Michael Chapman introducing Elizabeth Dreyer. And before we come up, just wanted to give the latest tally, and this is the vetted by the Chataway Addison accounting firm. This is we have 44 new members so far this year. There's still room to bring in more. We have only still a month and a half to go. So if you have other candidates, we have one more member review committee to take it to the next level, and then Lisa and Ed will take it on to even higher heights. But let's learn about Elizabeth and from Michael, and just understand how powerful the new members are to our club. Thank you.
Thank you, President Eric. And just to let you know, that accounting firm that you mentioned is a subsidiary of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Come on, do better than that. Let's hear it. Good afternoon. There we go. And you know something, folks? It is a good afternoon. And why is that? Because I get to introduce you to one of our newest members, Elizabeth Dreyer. Round of applause. Elizabeth is a financial advisor with the Federer Group at Morgan Stanley and a certified financial planner professional. She also holds the certified divorce financial analyst designation and is a licensed non-practicing CPA. With a strong foundation in corporate finance and accounting, she started her career at KPMG, although I understand we may have an opening in our accounting firm. Elizabeth brings a wealth of financial expertise to everything she does. Before moving into financial advising, she spent 10 years in accounting and corporate finance, followed by 2 years in nursing home administration, where she helped families navigate the long-term care process. I have some personal experience with that, and people who do that are angels on earth. So thank you. Today, her passion is guiding people through life's big transitions with personalized, value-based financial strategies that are about more than just the numbers, especially supporting women and families during divorce and widowhood. Elizabeth is committed to serving her community. She also serves on the board of Companions on a Journey, a nonprofit that provides bereavement support to children and families. Inspired by her own parents, her dad, a small business owner, and her mom, a teacher, she learned early on that genuine relationships and service to others are the key to a meaningful life. She sees Rotary as a natural extension of that spirit and is excited to dive into fellowship, service, and making a lasting impact on all of us. In fact, she's so excited she's already signed up for the Women in Rotary Committee. Carol. She signed up for the picnic. Our NFL official, Matt, stand up, say hi. Don't forget, we need help at the picnic. So, outside of her work, Elizabeth and her husband, Nash, keep busy with their 3 kids. They love being outdoors, playing pickleball, and exploring everything that Cincinnati has to offer. From the zoo, to Kings Island, to the Reds, to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. Please give a warm Rotary Club of Cincinnati welcome to Elizabeth Dreyer. Again, the road is between 2 doors.
So it's that time of the year for our elections coming up in a few weeks. It's my pleasure to bring up Ed Mathis, the president nominee, will be president in 2 years. He's going to, the board has approved the nominating committee, and he will announce the members of that committee and give some updates on the future of the different deadlines. We encourage everyone to think about great board members and future president nominee for this process, and a lot of hard work has already gone into this process. So let's hear from Ed about the nominating committee.
President Eric. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. We'll get a mic going. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As president nominee, I'm honored to provide a quick update on this club's nominating process. As I promised, to be brief between you and your dessert, and heck, I'm in between mine and dessert, so listen fast, I'll get this over with. great study. So I want to say thank you for your leadership, and it is greatly appreciated. Today I want to say we officially have 3 board positions available, and we have 1 president nominee position. You receive an email from me later on after this meeting, letting you know about the entire process, and then it will have a link on that email that you click there, and that will open up the application. And then I strongly encourage you to click that link and apply there. The paper is nice, but links are better for me. So if you could do that, and then we also strongly encourage that you nominate, self-nominate. We want you to, as Rotarians, to nominate other people. But if you feel you'll be good positioned for these 3 open board positions in the president nominee, I want you to self-nominate, because that'll kind of show us that you really want to be in the position, you understand what it takes to be in that position, and it'll be an easier process that way. So if you can self-nominate, that'd be great. And as they say in the book, if you want to do something right, volunteer yourself. So I'm going to say that somewhere, I'm not sure where. The deadline to submit these nominations is Tuesday, July the 2nd. Tuesday, July the 2nd is the cutoff. So if it's not in that link folder by then, I might turn a blind eye. So like I said, Tuesday, July the 2nd. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, President Eric, and President-elect Lisa, and Executive Director Sarah. As we look ahead, we're seeking leaders who align with President Eric's G5 growth strategy, those who will honor the club's strong traditions while embracing a bold, inclusive movement that will define President Lisa's upcoming term. So let's keep building what's next together, and always remember the service above self. Thank you.
Thanks, President nominee Ed. We'll see you up here shortly. We'll do great, as Lisa will do great as well. We're going to have our second learning session on May 29th, so put that on your calendar at 11 a.m. in the back room here to have our second education on what it takes, what does a board member do, what does a president nominee do. We'll have people answer this question directly in those positions. We'll talk about the election process. So if you want to get your questions answered, please attend. You don't need to sign up, just show up. And the last one we did was on May 1st, and that was quite successful. We've already gotten a lot of attendees for the next one, and key is transparency and to provide more information. We would love to have an overabundance of applications for the nominating committee. That process will start in July. So without further ado, we're going to go through the announcements, starting with the committee. We do have one committee meeting, cancel service in the Highland Room. We have 4 birthdays to celebrate. May 14th, Kathy Grader. May 15th, Mark Robertson. May 19th, David Wiltsey. And Chip Carson's on May 19th. Let's all wish them a happy birthday on 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday! And I know you've been waiting for this part. Split the pot. We have $30 for the first pot, and then we have $272 for the big pot. I'm going to ask Rickell to fix our winning ticket. No pressure. So help that out here. All right. We have the winning ticket is 508082. 508082. All right.
It's nice knowing even she doesn't know where it is.
Harris, you gotta share.
All right. No go Gary, huh? Okay. Gotta try again. It's my pleasure to announce that for the 2025 Cincy Serves Here honorees, there were 12 extraordinary individuals recognized for their unwavering commitment to making our city better, kinder, and stronger. 2 of those 12 are Rotarians. So I'm going to announce their names and we'll give them a round of applause. Doug Adams for his work with Cincinnati Tool Bank, and Steve King for his great work with Project Heart Restart. For the updates to remember, we have many great activities to attend. We have the neighborhood coffee on Tuesday, May 20th from 8 a.m. to 10 at Cream and Sugar Coffee House on Montgomery Road. Feel free to bring a guest or prospective member, sign up on DAC TV, or talk to Michael Chatsman. Rotary Club Euchre will be held on Tuesday. We have a late breaking announcement. On Tuesday, May 27th, hosted by Bob and Joyce McElroy. All levels of playing ability are welcome. Please feel free to bring your spouse and or guests. Arrive at 6:30. Play begins at 7. Please participate, Bob. Raise your hand, please. If you have any questions, reach out to Bob.
I just want to make a mention that the note came out, had the wrong address. It had Branstedter's address. So don't go to Branstedter's house, go to my house.
Otherwise, Bob's going to be, Branstedter's going to be very confused.
We're going to be at their house.
All right. So we got a Rotary, as an update, the Rotary Connect Committee will host an evening at Park 3 Newport at the levee on May 29th from 5:30 to 8. All are welcome. Please plan to attend and bring a guest. Mini golf is available for members and additional guests for just $16. RSVP and DAC TV. And then please reach out to the office if you are planning to attend the Rotary International Convention in Calgary in June. Ariel Miller forgot to remind people, invitation to honor Bonnie Reddick, Gator Montessori Elementary Daycare Center on Boudinot Avenue, 12:30. What's the date on that?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Carrot cake.
Carrot cake?
There will be carrot cake.
There will be carrot cake. So. If nothing else, carrot cake. All right.
And everyone should go to the Rotary International Convention in Calgary. It's in our hemisphere this year.
All right, so it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Tony Autry, who's going to introduce today's program.
It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Rickell Howard Smith, President and CEO of the YWCA, Greater Cincinnati. Rickell is a powerful advocate of civil rights, radical equity, racial equity, and the empowerment of women and children. She began her journey as a legal aid attorney, standing up for individuals facing eviction and housing discrimination. She went on to lead civil rights litigation for incarcerated individuals and advance youth and family policy reform through her work in juvenile justice system. Rickell also served as the founding executive director of the Center for Social Justice at the Urban League for Greater Southwestern Ohio. Today, she leads the YWCA with vision and compassion, championing initiatives that dismantle systemic barriers and lift up our most valuable communities. A proud Cincinnati native, Rickell holds a BBA from Howard University and a JD from Temple University School of Law. She lives with her husband, 2 children, and her 2 beloved dogs. She also shares her time and leadership with many community organizations, including the Women's Fund of the Greater Cincinnati Foundation, the Hamilton County Human Services Chamber, and Cincinnati Children's Hospital Community Advisory Board. We are truly honored to have her with us today at the Rotary Club of Cincinnati, as her unwavering commitment to justice and equity strongly reflects our shared value of service above self. Please join me in warmly welcoming Rickell Howard Smith.
Wow. Every time I listen to my bio, I'm like, who is that? We do not have time to do all of those things, but like many of you, I have always been driven by service and purpose bigger than myself. And so I'm feeling at home here at the Rotary Club. Thank you guys for inviting me. Happy to have several staff members here. Kat Steiner, our Chief Development Officer. Jennifer Milani, who is our Senior Director of Community and Court Services. Tracy Talbot, Assistant Director of Housing. Yvette Johnson-Hagee, who's our Director of Executive Services. And our Board Chair, a fearless Board Chair, Jamila Watson. If I have staff and supporters in the audience, I always have to introduce them because this is not a solo effort, right? The only way that we move our communities together, forward, is together. I want to start out with a video, though, that will sort of set you guys up and prepare you for my explanation of what YWCA does. We are one of the oldest multicultural women's organizations in the country, and the oldest here in Greater Cincinnati. And so we can go ahead and cue the video, and we're going to look on the screen. YWCA has the bold mission to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. It's going to take our collective power in order to do that. And YWCA focuses on equipping our community with the tools that they need in order to advance equity wherever they stand in this community. the survivors that we serve. And so for that, I have to. I do have a PowerPoint because when I first came into this role in February of 2023, although we are a historic institution, a lot of people didn't know exactly what we did. The expansive services that we offer to this community, and one thing that I want to note, and our staff can attest to this, that during our 157-year history, YWCA has evolved to meet the needs of the community. So every single program that you see that we have was developed because we saw a need and the community asked us to step up, and we always answered that call. So I'm going to call your attention again, and I'm a walker too, so hopefully I won't make folks dizzy. You can advance to the next slide. As you saw, we have the bold mission to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Something that has been critical throughout the years, but especially here today. Next slide, please. A couple of facts about us. We are the 5th YWCA founded in this country, and today there are nearly 200. So we're one of the oldest. Today, we are the largest provider of services for domestic violence survivors in this region. We operate the only shelters, emergency shelters in Hamilton County and Claremont Counties, Ohio, and we serve a total of 4 counties, so from here in Hamilton County to Adams County, Ohio. On average, we serve about 13,000 people, individuals per year, and we have 85 staff members and over 100 volunteers that help us move that mission forward along with our programs. Next slide. Now that bold mission, how are we implementing it in our community? We have 3 pillars of our work: our safety work, empowerment and economic advancement, and then also racial justice and advocacy. Next slide, please. Our safety work is where you're going to find most of our social service programs. We have been providing these services in our community since the 1970s. If you can imagine, in the 1970s, it was probably the least popular thing to do to provide a safe haven for women that were being abused by their spouses. And so we were at the forefront, and still the only operator of emergency shelter and housing here in the county. So we sort of break down our safety services into 3 buckets. One is our residential care. I mentioned our emergency shelters. We also have a housing and supportive services program where we provide transitional housing to families. And the goal is always to get them in permanent housing that they can sustain on their own. The second bucket of our safety is community programs. We walk along families as they are trying to separate from their abuser, and that requires us to stand with them in court to make sure that they are aware of the process and have the courage and support that they need in order to go through the justice process to separate from their abuser. We also work with people who do harm to their spouses. We operate the only program called Transform here in our region that partners with the court to provide a several-week program to get them to change their behavior. Why is that important? Because we know how difficult it is to leave an abusive relationship. On average, it takes about 7 times before a survivor can safely leave her abuser. And while that family is sort of going back and forth, we want the family to be as safe as possible by working on the behavior of the person who does harm. We also have several programs that target our most vulnerable survivors. Project Care focuses on survivors living with disabilities who are, quite frankly, more susceptible to abuse because of their limitations physically and sometimes developmentally. We also have two programs where we partner with Job and Family Services to make sure that children who are living in a home with violence stay safe, or they're safely able to transition out of that home, and that's our Safe Parent and Child Welfare Domestic Violence Connection Program. And then our last bucket is school-based prevention. Now, our goal in this work is to end the cycle of violence, period. And what is the best way to do that is to start as young as possible to teach our kids how to have healthy relationships and also how to avoid getting in an abusive situation yourself. We also have a great program called Coaching Boys into Men, where we work directly with sports coaches to get access and the attention of young men to teach them how to have healthy relationships as well. Next slide, please. Now, our second bucket of work is empowerment and economic advancement. Some of you are familiar with our Career Women of Achievement Awards. Was anybody there a couple weeks ago? Yes. Hello, Stephanie. And we also have one of our vendors here, Steve Easley, provided us with power. We have been honoring women in our community for their advancements in the workplace since 1980. I was born in 1980. So I am particularly proud to continue that legacy. And for the past 2 years, we've honored more women. We used to honor 8, now we honor 10, because there are so many women in our community that are moving the needle when it comes to equity and justice for all of us in the boardroom and beyond. Our Rising Stars Equity Leadership Program. Now, I know we have Rising Stars in here, right? Yes.
Class of 2000 something.
Yes. And so the focus of our Rising Stars Equity Leadership Program is really building up the next generation of women that are going to be in place in influential places. They can make decisions on our behalf, and we can be confident that they're going to advance justice in no matter what room they occupy. We have a graduation coming up for our latest class, and as you guys saw, there are hundreds of women in this city and beyond that have been through that program. And then finally, under economic advancement, we have several scholarship opportunities for high school girls and for folks who have gone through YWCA programs. That is important because probably doesn't need to be said, but there aren't a lot of opportunities, especially in today's world, to get access to dollars. Sometimes you may have a talented young woman who has everything that it takes and just does not have the economic background or family doesn't to support things moving forward. And then our last bucket of work is our racial justice and advocacy work. People often ask me, okay, when did YW start doing racial justice work? They ask me that. I saw the look on your face. She's like, what? YWCA USA, which is our national Think About a Parent organization, in 1970 had a national convention of women from across this country. And in 1970, they decided that the one imperative, that's what we call it internally, was that the organization would be responsible and committed to advancing racial justice, eliminating racism wherever it existed. Talk about making a decision at a time where it wasn't the most popular. But you heard me say that it's the oldest multicultural women's organization in this world, actually. And so I have to put this plug in. If nobody's going to do it, a group of women will do it, right? These are all the how we do work on the ground here in Cincinnati. When it comes to racial justice and advocacy work, every year, annually, we host a racial justice breakfast, where we bring in a national speaker to talk about a pressing topic around racial justice. The goal is to educate our community. We are all coming from different places. We all have not experienced racism ourselves. And this is a learning opportunity, so we use our resources and influence to make sure that all can learn and learn together. We also have what's called a Racial Justice Challenge. It's an app that we have where you can do your own learning at your own pace about issues that are impacting not just Black and brown folks, but the indigenous community, Asian Americans here in this country, etc. Another learning opportunity. One of the programs that I'm most proud of is that we offer equity trainings. We have a full racial justice and advocacy department, and our department works with individual agencies and community groups that want to learn more about how to become an equitable organization. We tailor those trainings to the needs of the organization. And then our advocacy department, which although we've been advocates for since the inception of YWCA, we now have a dedicated director of advocacy that works on the bills that you saw in that video. So we work on the local level and state level to advance legislation that is going to support survivors, that's going to support children, that will support issues like pay equity, which we've been fighting for several decades. Next slide, please. And so now that you know who we are, I wanted to talk to you guys about the most exciting thing that we've had going on at YWCA since 1996. We, in 2023, launched our Mission Forward capital campaign to support 3 things in our community with YWCA. One, we are renovating a brand new domestic violence survivor shelter here in our city. This shelter will double our capacity, our nightly capacity to serve survivors. And although we wish that we were closing down that program by now, right? We know during COVID, we saw an uptick in domestic violence. We definitely saw an uptick in calls to our hotline. And even after COVID, those calls never reduced. They continued to go up. The other thing we saw during COVID was that the families that were coming to us were getting larger and larger. So in 2019, on average, we would see a mom and 2 kids. Now in 2025, the average is a mom and 5 children. We are also seeing multi-generational families come in. So it is very common to see a mom, grandma, and kids. And so when we saw those trends, I mentioned YWCA, we moved based on the community's needs. That's when we started planning and engaging in this project. It is so exciting, not because there's a need for it, but because of what it's going to do for survivors and the children that are living in our shelter. It is 21 units, 21 private units that are apartment style, where one family will have their own bathroom, they'll have access to their own kitchen, living area, and sleeping area. Our current shelter is congregate because in the 1990s, that's what you did, to fit as many people as you could in a space. And so our nightly capacity is going to go from 67 individuals to 120. The other unique feature of the shelter, there are a couple. All of our supportive services will be housed there. We don't just house survivors, we provide wraparound services. As I went through in the previous slide. workforce development, the person that's gonna help you find permanent housing, because this is a temporary place. If you need health care, we have a room that doubles as an exam room, thanks to the generosity of Children's Hospital. Families often come to us with injuries when they hit our door. And so now we have a space where medical professionals, our local providers, can actually come in and take care of our people. We have dedicated play areas for children. We have dedicated areas for teens. Why is all of this important? Because if you're leaving the scariest situation you've ever been in, the last thing you want to do is to share a room with a stranger. This is bright, shiny, and new. And although it's still a scary situation, I always imagine myself being a child, walking through those doors. And what would I need to see in order to feel calm, just for a second, and safe? And that's how we look through every detail of the design of the shelter. Next slide, please. Including what you see when you walk in, and how you're greeted by our staff that are committed to helping move people forward from a place of trauma to a place of healing. Next slide, please. And here's a picture of a rendering of an individual unit. Again, imagine yourself being a mom, but more so a kid, having been taken from your home. You don't really understand, but you get to step into this nice place with nice people, and it helps you take that next step forward. Next slide, please. Now, I mentioned that the capital campaign will do three things. The shelter is a huge portion of that, but we are also raising dollars to support our future. We had the foresight to establish that as a campaign goal, having no clue that we were going to have drastic changes to our federal funding soon after. And so I do want to credit our Chief Development Officer, Kat Steiner, who was very adamant that we needed to plan for our future. And that's exactly what we're doing. We are also raising money for reserves. And in case anybody has this question, 54% of our funding right now comes from the federal government. Mostly rooted in our housing, that makes sense, and then also our wraparound services for survivors, because traditionally, we as a country have decided that's where we want our taxpayer dollars to go. And so changes on the federal level, it will be a huge shift for us. And we are actively raising money in order to safeguard our future. The third bucket is racial justice and advocacy work. We have traditionally done that work with very little resources. And again, we know that that work is needed now more than ever. Because if no one in our community is able to talk about racial justice, equity, and building a better community, YWCA will be able to, because it's in our mission. And so that is sort of the overview. I think now may be an appropriate time for a question and answer. What's the time check? Can somebody give me a time check? Okay, so that's good, right? Okay.
Where is the new women's center being built?
Where is the new women's center being built?
Our new shelter is in Avondale. We have been in that community for since the late 90s. And it was important for us to stay in Avondale for a couple of reasons. One, we are near every single hospital system, which is a huge need for our families, and the community resources, bus line transportation that are available in Avondale. And I forgot to mention, we have our ribbon cutting next week. May 22nd, at 11:30, we have an open house, and that is open to the community. So if you are available, I know that we have some literature at the front table. Would love for you to stop by. We will be doing a tour of the first floor of the shelter, and you can see what the big fuss is about, and hopefully you would be motivated to contribute in some way. Other questions?
I can get out, I can out. Go ahead. Yeah, I have some questions. What's the average stay when they come there? Do you provide a house for them? You must give some basic security to their escaping their abusers.
So, the first question, our average length of stay right now is about 36 days. It is the best length of stay amongst other homeless shelters here in this region, and there's a couple reasons why. One, we have intensive case management. So we don't have case managers that are working with, 50 to 100 folks. We have caps on that so that they can provide the services that our families need. And then two, because we operate our own transitional housing program and have such great relationships with landlords, we're able to place families much sooner than other shelters. Your second question was around what do we provide? Do we provide food, etc. for our families? We provide everything that a family needs when they hit our doors. Please understand the context here. They are leaving their families, their providers, and often at a time that is most safe for them. When I first came in February, was notified about a situation where a woman called our hotline, and we do safety planning. We don't tell you leave right now because it may not be the safest thing. We did safety planning with the survivor. Found out that the best time for her to leave is when she was going to be at the pool with the kids. And she did. And that means that she showed up to our shelter in a bathing suit with her children. And so in a situation like that, we literally provide everything that a family needs. So food, medication, diapers, formula, just everyday wear, dress wear, when it's time for them to go and interview for a job. Anything that you can think of when you walk out the door, let's say you left out with clothes on your back and without your wallet or purse. Everything that you would need is what we provide. And then your third question, security. Yes, so we are transitioning at YW from a confidential model to a secure model to our shelter. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but it's part of the national trend because the secure model didn't work anyway, not in the age of the internet. If you really wanted to know, you'd be able to Google to find out where our current shelter is. In this new model, it is more trauma-informed because we don't want families to feel like they did something wrong. You're not in jail. This is not a correctional setting. And so the families are empowered to come and go as they please. They can go to work. And we will provide the safety and security measures that they need in order to do that safely. Now, I will tell you, in situations where we know there is a high risk of fatality, we have other resources where we can place a family outside of our shelter. Good?
I want to say hats off to all of you for doing such a phenomenal job with this because growing up here, I always seen the YWCA, and it was just like, I thought it was similar to the other, partner brands. So the branding and marketing that you're putting out in the market right now has been like amazing because I've been watching it and I'm like, get me intrigued and want to get involved. But one thing I wanted to know is with the housing, which that's great to pull out. I'm in commercial real estate to know to pull that how do you select these landlords with it being such a competitive market with housing and it's all, that's the buzzword down at City Hall is housing, need more housing. How are you able to create those partnerships to be able to place these families that are in need? And it's like get them there in a competitive way where the landlord feels like they can lose that space at that particular number. Or how do you work it out? How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell my perspective, and Tracy, if you have anything to add, let me know. This is Tracy's wheelhouse. She's been at YW for 25 years, by the way. Right? 26, 27, yeah, a long time. So we vet a landlord just as much as they're vetting us, because we have to make sure that these are units that are secure, that this is not, that the property is not in disrepair, and that we don't have a landlord that doesn't care about the people and the dignity that they should have living in the unit. So this is like a mutual interview process. The other piece of it is, if you're a property owner with a large apartment building, this is a pretty sweet deal for you. You do not have to worry about when the rent is whether it's gonna be on time. Because as long as we have a partnership, we provide the funding for it, and we're actually the leaseholder for security reasons. We don't want people to know that, the Johnson family is living there. And so, the other piece of why it's a sweet deal is if there are any repairs or things that need to be improved when an apartment turns over, we take care of that too, because we have our next family coming in that transitional unit. So from my perspective, it's a pretty sweet deal for landlords. And if there are security concerns, then we work with the landlord too to make sure that their property is going to be safe.
Thank you for sharing the powerful YMCA story. Can you talk about the children? How do you ensure there's continuity for school-age children getting to school, making sure that they're getting their work done? They have so much going on emotionally, just to make sure that there's that continuity.
That's a great question. We have, for the last several decades, had a dedicated children's program where we have staff that work directly with the kids and parents, and then also community partners to ensure continuity. Are you a teacher? Okay. So I'm a lawyer, and I'm familiar with McKinney-Vento, which is a law that states that if a child is experiencing homelessness, then they have the right to stay at their home school. And so we lean on that, working with CPS and other school districts pretty heavily. We've never had an issue with that, and CPS has a special project called Project Connect that works with homeless children in the school system. And so we work lockstep with them to ensure not just that a kid does not have disruption in their education, but that they can be safe while they're attending school. In addition to that, our children's program sources activities. We just received a nice donation from Cincinnati Nature Center, who provided memberships for our survivor families that can rotate to whoever needs it, so that our young people can be out in nature. That's part of our trauma-informed model. And so always open to partnerships like that, where our kids can mentally take a break from their circumstances, which is necessary for them to even concentrate when they get to school.
Rickell, we're at time, but I wanted to make sure that we share with everybody with the Rising Star program and how people can be nominated. You're in a room full of business leaders and owners here, and so I think that program just feeds the work that you're doing here in the community. So.
Absolutely. We are finishing up our current class, and nominations typically come out in August, or the nomination process typically comes out in August. You can nominate, anyone can nominate a young woman professional that you think has potential or would benefit from our program. You can find out more information if you go to our website, YWCA-Cincinnati.org. But what I will say about our Rising Stars program too is it is extremely competitive, But because we meet the community's needs, last year we actually expanded the number of women that we took in for the program. So I'm not going to promise that we're expanding it again, but definitely try to do that. What I can make sure that we do is when nominations are open, I will have someone contact the Rotary Club specifically so you guys can just pass it on to your listserv. Thank you guys so much for your time.
I want to honor you. So, as a father of 3 daughters, I appreciate all you do. As a girl dad, I appreciate what you do in the community, and we honor you today with 2 things. One is we have a global campaign to eradicate polio throughout the world. We're making a donation in your name to End Polio Now campaign from our Rotary Foundation Cincinnati. And as you heard earlier, we before we tested our mission of what we try to achieve here, not just locally, but throughout 46,000 clubs throughout the world. We're club number 17, so we're the earliest clubs in the world. We have a coin that has the beautiful skyline of Cincinnati, and then the forward test on the other side as a remembrance of today's meeting. Thanks so much, and we will do a quick picture. This year's theme is Magic of Rotary.